welcome back to the Main Beam Podcast. This is episode 18.
Yeah, it's getting to be close to half a year, I guess.
I was going to say we're running up on almost half a year.
Well, I guess 6 more episodes.
Yeah, so
somewhere in there.
Coming close, which we're going to whip through pretty quick, I feel like, in the next couple weeks.
That'd be more than 6, 8 or so, I guess. But, yeah, it's been quite a while coming, I guess.
First and foremost, happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah, happy Easter.
It'll be after Easter by the time you listen to this, but it is Easter Sunday today, and if your family hates each other like all of our family does, you won't have nothing to do, so we're podcasting.
Yeah.
Man, we had an exciting weekend this weekend. We actually have an in-studio guest. Mr. Drake is back.
Howdy, guys.
He's in Missouri this time.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We're not in Iowa.
Yeah, it's good to be down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 15 degrees when he left his house in Iowa. They stopped at the gas station earlier, and we'll get into it a little bit, but they stopped at the gas station earlier, and the lady said it's like 81 degrees here today or something, pretty warm.
Yeah, Iowa, well, we were looking earlier at his house in Iowa because he was telling me, he's like, damn, it's hot down here. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty warm today. And it was like 49, felt like 45 or something in Iowa, and it was like 81 down here. But we went to go mushroom hunting, and Brady and his girlfriend and her friend were down there looking already, and they were like, man, we need some water, stop and get us water. So me and Drake stopped by the gas station, and we had like 4 waters, 4 Gatorades, a couple other things. Like, we had enough to hydrate an elephant. And the lady was like, she was kind of looking at us, and we were just standing there, and I was like, yeah, we're not from around here. I was like, it's so damn hot here. She was like, well, where are you guys from? I was like, oh, we're from Minnesota. I was like, and Drake goes, yeah, when we left the house, it was 15 degrees. He said, it's hot down here.
Yeah, that was funny.
So we were joking with her because we were buying all this stuff to hydrate. And
yeah, we did a little mushroom hunt today, which it's been soil temperatures come up the last couple of days. We got a good rain and this sunlight, a lot of warm nights and hot days, and so mushrooms are going to be in full. Well, I mean, we found 200 of them today, but
yeah, 215, 220.
Yeah, I was going to say they'll be full swing here in the next week or two. We should really start
yeah, a lot of them were pretty small grays or small whites, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But I would say in the next week or so, it's going to be full force.
Yeah, we ought to have someone on that knows like professional stuff about mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't really know anything.
Yeah, I just find them.
Go walk and pick.
It's kind of crazy that you guys are going to be in full force and we won't even have them yet.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd say even like the north part of Missouri, like the mushroom map on Facebook group or whatever, they always post pictures where they find them, and they're starting to get them up north Missouri. But I'd say
you always have them spots or see them people that find them way before everyone else, and it's like there's just the right place where the sun hits it just right, and they find mushrooms. Like, we have a guy that lives kind of around us, and he'll find them when he finds his first one. Like, we'll look 3 weeks later. Yeah, like that's just how. He has a spot that's literally like he just finds them right away, and we find them later. But Drake was getting some people riled up earlier in Iowa because not many people know he's down here right now. So they
all think he's finding morels in
like
Iowa.
There's snow on the ground. How are you finding them?
Yeah, no, they were all messaging me and stuff and trying to figure out where I was because I posted a photo of the sack that we had, and they're trying to figure it out. They're like, where are you at? Like, are you finding these in Iowa? And I told them all I was in different places. Stuff, but
no, Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. It was 15. You guys aren't finding them?
Yeah. No, but I think what we're going to get into, man, so we'll have to post pictures of them on our account. Drake made us a couple, and we've been talking about them for the last couple of weeks. We're over here staring at them. We got to integrate them in the podcast setup still, but he made us a couple badass mirrors that are etched with our logo in it, and they're all backlit. So it's like a neon sign in glass. So
they are sick.
He brought them down Saturday or Friday night, and we had a little surprise for him. Took him out Saturday to snag some spoonbill.
Yeah, it was a good time, and I guess I just want everyone to know that Drake is not in the sign-making business or the mirror-making business.
Yeah.
So
Mirror making, yes, but signs, no.
You've had a lot of people reach out though after you
Oh.
posted those that like crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many people have had messaged me. They want one, or they're talking about how cool they are, and they're like, how much would that cost? And yeah,
$1 million.
$1 million.
That's what I'm gonna tell Spencer. I'm gonna sell him one for. It's gonna cost you $1 million.
It costs you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're really cool. So we were super thankful to that he brought them down here to us because man, they're just a complete work of art, and the craftsmanship in them's impressive. So we can't thank you enough. Yeah, it's the craftsmanship so. It's fucking shit.
You can't see me, but I like
Yeah.
so-sewed my hand. Like there's some things that I know about them that I'm like, we're not going to talk about that.
No, but dude, they look freaking sweet. So like I
They
said,
do look sweet.
we appreciate you bringing them down. But let's get into snagging because that's kind of was an interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of a reason you came down as well because you'd never been before.
I'd never done snagging, never seen a spoonbill, nothing.
Yeah,
And then you got the full experience this weekend.
Yeah, we absolutely hammered them. So a little bit, I guess you were saying about like the rules in Iowa. You're only allowed, or you can only snag like 2 bodies of water.
Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 spots in the state of Iowa that you can snag, and it's kind of where we have like Asian carp and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people snag, and they have spoonbills and stuff, and people catch spoonbills occasionally in Iowa, but they're few
Yeah.
and far between unless you really know what you're doing.
Is that where Steve was snagging them big heads?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep,
same
yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looked pretty fun, but I don't know how I'd feel about snagging a bunch of big heads.
Yeah, and they put up a hell of a fight. I know when we've shot them bow
Yeah.
fishing, they put up a damn good fight.
Yeah, and usually snagging. So we're pretty new to it, I guess, because once we get in turkey season, it's only a 45-day season here in Missouri, so we're limited on the amount of time we can do it. And so it's like snow goose season kind of ends. It's like spoonbill's right in between that snow goose and turkey hunting, so it's like we may take 1 or 2 weekends to do it. So most of the time we're not like, we do it once or twice a year, so we're not real sharp at it. And we've snagged plenty. I mean, we've snagged, quite a few of them over the years.
Yeah, the couple times that we've gone, or actually, I guess I can tell a story. I was telling Drake yesterday. I think like the first time we ever went snagging, I was like, oh yeah, this seems fun. We were younger, had a broken arm, and we like sit there and ripped on the rod the whole time. We were with Uncle Floyd. He never run a fish finder or nothing. He was just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna fire the boat up, troll down the water. We were on the Lake of the Ozarks, and he was like, start ripping the pole. I was like. So me and Brady are just sitting in the back of the boat.
just ripping freaking lead.
Yeah, ripping lead the whole time. And it was like, all right, like, are we on fish? There's fish around. He's like,
I don't know.
oh, they're usually in this. This is a pretty good hole usually. I was like, all right. And we keep pulling, like nothing all day. Finally, I was like, I don't know. Mine kind of feels weird. Like, couldn't really feel nothing. And I reeled it, or Floyd said something about, well, reel it up. Maybe you got like a stick or something. I reel it up. And there's a spoonbill on there that's literally like 1 foot long.
Its
Like,
bill was longer than the rest of the
yes,
fish.
yeah, like it was almost transparent. You could like see
Yep.
through it. And I was like, what? Like out of all the spoonbill in this whole lake, and I snagged probably the smallest one out there. So that was kind of cool though. But that was like my first snagging experience, and then we did really well that one year.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just a combination of like the right amount of rainfall and the water moving because it takes flow. So, which honestly we should have the guide on to tell like because he's so good at.
There's a lot of controversy on like the lake and stuff since there's different dams and
if they
things
spawn
that,
or
if they actually spawn or like what they do. But typically, as the water temperature rises, a lot of the fish head upstream to spawn what they would typically do, but they can obviously only go so far because you hit Truman,
either Bagnell Dam or Truman Dam.
Yeah. So in the scheme of things, there's a lot of people that don't know if they actually spawn. There's some people that say there's proof that they do, but the conservation stocks, the guy told us yesterday, stocks 74,000 spoonbill every year. And I don't know if I don't know if that's in just like the lake and stuff or between both of them or like across the state, but they said they stock 74,000 every year. So I don't really know a whole lot about it, but they also say that if they're not running water or we
they
don't
just
get some rain and we run water, that they just kind of
go wherever.
because they don't know what direction really to go when the water's flowing or they're releasing water from
they know where to head.
from the lake above, then they know to head upstream. But this year the weather was so, I guess, different. I mean, it warmed up so early. We're finding mushrooms in March.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a lot of the fish, from different things that I've read, had already made it completely upstream before season really opened, and we're already like dispersing back out. So typically, whenever the fish are heading upstream, they start schooling up in these deep holes, because where we're snagging, as you get upstream, the water gets basically shallower.
Yeah, it's like
shallower.
almost a river.
Yeah,
again.
I mean it's wide, but where it looks like it'd be deep all the way across it, some of it you get in, it's only 2 or 3 feet of water, and then until you get in the channels, 25, 30 foot, occasionally 40-foot holes. So they typically will school up in these big holes. And so when when you come through there ripping lead, if there's 20 or 30 schooled up, you got a pretty good odds. This year there was we'd come through and graph it
one or two
fish finders, and there'd be 1 or 2 fish, so it was slim chance. So we went yesterday to a lot better spot, and we did really well. The fish were schooled up, but he said a lot of them had already been upriver and were coming back, we were chasing them back down.
Yeah, I could see that. But what you guys were doing was a completely different technique than how we did it.
Yeah, we were doing a very, very new technique, and there's a lot of people that don't like it, that don't, I guess, agree with it. And I guess there's pros and cons to both. We were live scoping them, and so basically there's a lot of people, and I've done it, where you either rip lead or you
troll
run
dipsies.
Yeah, you troll dipsy divers, which is a little device that you put basically at the end of your hooks, and
just keeps you down there.
Yeah, it keeps you down there, and you basically just troll until you hit something, which I don't really like, or I don't think it's that fun, because you're just watching your pole, and once it goes off, you reel a fish in. Whenever we used to rip lead, I used to like it because you'd still feel that hook set, but you also take the chance, and we try to bounce the bottom, so you'll feel your weight hit the bottom, then you pull, you pull up. We run typically 3 hooks. You can space them out however far you want, but we typically space them out 18 inches, 20 inches apart. So when you're ripping up, you're covering, I don't know, call it 10 foot of water, you would say, from the bottom.
Yeah, I'd say.
Up.
Well, it may be even more than that.
Yeah,
your hooks are spread far enough apart. Hell, you may cover
10
to 20. I mean, you'd be ripping them out of the water sometimes, but I'd say you're covering 10 to 15 feet of water, depending on how.
Yeah, so it seems a lot of the spoonbill too lay low or on the bottom and stuff. So we try to bounce the bottom, but you'll definitely get snagged up, lose stuff, and I mean, it ain't. Lead and hooks aren't necessarily cheap. So it's a lot of work. I mean, I went once this year and we ripped lead all day and didn't snag a fish. How we were doing it with the live scope is we were basically finding the fish, and so we kind of knew exactly what they were. But I also agree with, on the Lake of the Ozarks and Truman, and I believe a couple other bodies of water, they have to be 34 inches from the eye to the fork of the tail. We're on the river, it's 32.
Yeah, they got to be 32
for whatever reason. Yeah. But a lot of people, we talked to a guy yesterday, and there wasn't, not many people are live scoping them. A lot of people are either pulling lead or still trolling dipsy divers. But this guy was like, yeah, we snagged eight short ones. Well, a lot of the times, when you're snagging them, you can't really control whether it's the tail, the head, and if you're using big enough hooks or different things, if you snag them in the guts or whatever, a lot of them fish are just going to die. So with live scoping them, you can kind of judge how big they are, and a lot of it too, the guide that we took, he said all year they've only had boated 2 fish that weren't of legal size, where this guy yesterday that was just pulling lead snagged 8 already. So you're able to kind of pick and choose, oh, that's a little bigger fish. So, that's probably a legal fish or whatever. Now I will say it did seem like it was definitely way more effective than pulling dipsy divers and stuff, So
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily on the rules of, how it's going to affect fishing in the long run.
I could see it argued both ways. I mean, the entry point to live scopes definitely more expensive. I mean, the whole setup to live scopes, pretty high dollar,
very
but
expensive.
a lot of these, a lot of the guys, which I liked pulling lead when we did it, but it's just, like I said, we only have limited time to do it. So, we're like to be most effective anymore. So it seems like that's kind of,
And I think a lot of that is too, it's such a short season. And I mean, my biggest takeaway from doing like live scope is it's not as simple as it seems. I mean,
you guys missed
we
fish.
worked for it yesterday. It wasn't just like, oh, there's a fish, cast out and snag it. I mean, it took me a good probably 40 minutes to snag the first one, and we were looking at, you were just like off to the side one way or off to the side this way, or the fish would turn and run, and like it's not just as simple as like, oh, there he is, like.
Yeah,
They weren't just jumping in the boat.
No,
I
right.
mean, we still definitely worked for it, and I'll say too, them live scopes, you really got to know what you're doing to have them tuned just right between, what kind of water you're in and different things. Like it's pretty difficult. Like Uncle Floyd, if he's running his live scope, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, nothing against Floyd, but he's not technical enough to know his electronics to do what you can get it to do.
And that's what this guy was saying yesterday. He was telling us that whenever they first got their live scopes, he said they were ready to throw them in the water.
Yeah,
like
sure.
They were about done with them, and he said they just slowly like started messing with them more and more and more. And now that they got them figured out, I mean, they're very effective for definitely them guys. But they had theirs tuned very well, and he ran it very well. I know a lot of people that just aren't very good with them, and so it goes both ways. Like it's not something that I would say is like an all around cheat code that you're just going to go limit out every time, but it definitely helped.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. I mean, the guide was incredibly proficient with that live scope because he had it on the bottom of his trolling motor, so he could control the angle that he was looking at and everything, and it was crazy watching him. He'd turn that thing like 180 degrees, and he'd still be on the fish, and it was like hard for him to miss him. Like we were tracking the fish down almost with that thing.
Yeah, we definitely did. Like we ran the fish a lot. Like I guess I can't say ran them, like we were pushing them, but like the fish would just be swimming.
Yeah.
And so we would just follow it, like we would just chase it down.
Yeah, we'll just have to post a couple videos because you guys got like several videos of what it looks like on the live scope. That way everyone can see like what it actually looks like. And I guess now that we're filming them, I can honestly overlay like some of the footage on it. So when you're watching it, you can tell like you can see the fish, you can see your hook set into it.
Yeah.
Which, I wasn't there, so I guess who snagged the first one? Like I guess taking
I
kind of
did.
through the day.
So we showed up and put on there. It was pretty busy, honestly, up there, but there wasn't a whole lot of people that we saw snagging. It seemed like there were some people cast netting for shad and stuff, and it looked like a good place for catfishing, honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people were actually snagging. There was a handful of boats out there, but we got on, and obviously the guy knew where he wanted to go. We went upriver, and we started along a bluff, and so the water was 25 feet, somewhere in there. Put the live scope in, and we instantly found fish.
30 seconds the live scope was on, and like I wasn't even paying attention. I looked over, and he was on a fish.
Yeah, he was
the
on a
second he
fish.
turned it on.
So anyway, we had just a spinning rod. It had 2 hooks on it. They were smaller hooks. I think he told me it was like 80. I think he had 80 pound.
85 test braid.
Okay, 85 pound. I think it was monofilament.
No, it was braid.
No, it was
Was it
braid.
No, you don't run mono stretches, so you don't want to snag with it.
Oh, never mind then. I'm not very educated on fishing. So, yeah, he had braid. Anyway, he asked me, he's like, would you like me to, like hook, or like set the hook and you reel them in or what? And I was like, no, I'd really like to do it. And he's like, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm sure being a guide, he sees some people that,
Yeah, can't fucking do it.
yeah. So, he was like, yeah, cool. And so it took me a minute because with that live scope, And he said, like, some people, he'd be like, all right, cast out there, and they'll literally wing it, 60 yards. And he's like, whoa, what the, like, it's closer than you think. Like, you kind of just pitch it.
Yeah, the
You don't really
perception
cast.
is crazy.
Yeah. Like, it's, you pitch it.
Yeah,
just,
20 feet, 10 or 20 feet at most.
not even, just pitch it out there. And so there was it took me a minute to kind of get or see my line on the screen and get to where we were. But it took me a little while. There was a couple of times like I'd be coming through and he would tell us like reel up, and you'd see your hooks and he'd be like, all right, set the hook, and I'd go to set the hook and like nothing. I was like, what the heck? So finally after I did that like 4 or 5 times, I asked him like, all right, what am I doing wrong? And he was just like, cause I at that point I felt like, cause I was under the perception when we went and we were live scoping him that it was going to be like, oh yeah, there he is. Oh, yep. You're on the screen, set the hook, and it was going to be just like boom, 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 boom. Well, it wasn't. It took me a little while, and he was like, "Oh no, you're not doing nothing wrong at all." He's like, "You just like it's hard to be right on, and hit him." He's like, "One of these times you will." He's like, "It just takes a little bit." So, a lot of the times though, whenever we'd miss them, like the fish wouldn't even go nowhere. It would just kind of be sitting there, like I guess
Didn't care.
Yeah, filter feeding, and so. There was a couple times though where you would feel like you would either roll the fish or like the line would hit it somewhere, and it would take off, and then we'd have to go run it back down. Yeah. So I did this for, like I said, probably 30 minutes or something. And I started almost getting like, damn, am I going to have to let this guy hook one for me? Because I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so finally I finally hit one, and the guy was like, "Oh no, you're not doing." He was like, "That's just part of it or how it is, like the luck of it." And so I finally hit one, got it in, and it was probably, I think it was
65, 66,
somewhere in there. A damn good fish, but it put up a heck of a fight. And at first, he was like, "Well, don't let the line break," which I'm used to snagging whenever we're snagging on our stuff or ripping lead. We got 200-pound freaking
I was gonna say I think I got like 500 or 1,000.
Yeah, like you ain't breaking it for nothing. If you
like
get
something stupid,
you ain't breaking it. So anyway, I had to loosen the drag and fight him a little bit, but we got him in, and then Drake took over and finally got his first spoonbill ever.
Spoonbill, yeah.
So how'd it feel?
Like you hooked into a log with everything you had in you.
Yeah.
It bent the rod over quick.
Oh yeah, no, it was like instant feedback, because you hit it and then all of a sudden it was like, oh.
Yeah, the feeling's wild whenever like that instant hook set is.
I think that's the best. Like I love the first initial like hooks.
And the thing is too is you're sitting there, and like Landon was saying, he's he was going for a half hour or so, and I was probably right there with him time wise, just failing, and it's crazy. Like when it finally hits you, you're almost just not expecting it, and it hits you with everything you hit it with.
We kept joking because whenever I was up, I kept like, since I was the first one, I was like, damn, I don't know, maybe, I don't know what I'm doing, whatever. And Drake kept saying, you better hurry up, my phone's dying, because we kept taking videos like every time we do it, just because we thought we were gonna hit it. And he's like, you better hurry up, my phone's dying. So finally I hit one, and then he was up, and I was doing the same thing, like video after video after video. And finally I looked down, and I was like 8%. And I was like, damn, Drake, you better hit one. I'm like, I'm running out of video or running out of battery. And the guy ended up having a phone charger, but we did get some pretty cool video. And
I said we'll have to put some of them up, and because I think it's just interesting to watch when people got their live scopes that dialed in to see that you can literally see the hooks and the fish and hitting them.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, I guess, that don't know anything about spoonbill, or some people call them paddlefish, they're basically just feed on like microorganisms, plankton.
They just open their mouth and
that's why they rely on like current or whatever, because they sit there and filter feed, which is another reason, like if they're a lot of times the spoonbill are basically running parallel with the current.
Yeah.
So whenever you're coming up and down the current, it's hard. They're not turned sideways. Like, if a deer was broadside and you were going to shoot it, they're literally, so they're hard to hit because you're either snagging at the tail of it or the face.
So when you guys were parallel with the river, was his live scope like quartering them so he could see them?
We were just running everywhere. Like we weren't, that's what helped us. We weren't running. So if he seen that the fish was turned a different way, like we turned the boat, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't go
right to give you the best chance at snagging it in the side.
Yeah, we made sure the fish was pretty well sideways when we snagged it. But that's the advantage we had. A lot of people that were trolling dipsy divers and stuff, I mean, they're not zigzagging side to side.
Yeah, they're
coming up and
straight.
down the river.
Yeah, right.
We were just basically trolling wherever we seen a fish, and there was different times he was like, "Oh, that fish just turned, like we need to wait," or he's facing us, or he's doing this. Like we kind of waited till I'm guessing he was pretty well sideways to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Which so definitely kind of helped us out there in that aspect of it.
Have you ever eaten spoonbill, Drake?
No, I've never even seen their meat, nothing until yesterday.
Yeah, dude, I think it's all in how you prepare it, really. But, I mean, I've seen different recipes. Some people are mustard frying it, grilling it, but I like it. I think it's good.
I think it's good, too. The meat's different, though. It's, like, dense, almost like...
Yeah,
a shrimp.
When we were
like
cleaning them, they were
chicken or
solid.
Yeah, oh, yeah. They're not flaky like crappie or...
Yeah, that's why they make, like, a good steak on, like, a grill or, I don't know. We fry a lot of it, but, I mean... you can cook them anyway, and they're pretty damn good.
The meat seemed comparable to tuna, like texture-wise and kind of everything.
Yeah, and they're interesting to clean. Did you guys have to pull the big old cords out?
Yeah,
of
we were taking turns doing that yesterday.
Yeah, we were skinning them like catfish, and then trying to bust those cords out. And I think we only busted 2 cords right at the tail, but we ended up being able to pull every single one of them out.
Yeah, we pulled every one of them out.
Yeah, it's cool. They don't have any real bones in them at all. The only thing that has like a little bone stuff in it's bill, and people get the skull mounts of them.
Yeah, that's really the only, and I think that's more cartilage than anything. Because we did find whenever we were cleaning them yesterday, there's some pretty hard like cartilage spots in them.
Oh
but
yeah,
there's no bones in them. It's all just a core that runs down the center of them.
Like this gross jelly tube.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, without ever like cutting a shark open and eating a shark, it's comparable to a shark pretty much, you know?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. So it was pretty neat though. I mean, we ended up, our limit was 6 and we got all 6. Drake ended up with the biggest one.
70s.
70.
70.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I know the biggest one that we hit them years when we went were like 80, 82. And were they all mostly females?
4 and 2, I think. 4 females and 2 males.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you eat some caviar?
No, we thought about it, but we didn't. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of time, and I think not that a lot goes into preparing it, but I don't really think you can just cut it open and eat it right out of it.
I don't know how they clean it and stuff. I have no idea.
It looked really cool, but I think, like Lanny, you're saying, but we didn't have the time or really the facilities to do that.
Yeah, we didn't know I need to probably educate or look up how to, someone was saying about like filtering them and salt brining them or whatever, like rinsing them, and there's different ways you can cook them even, I guess.
So that's one thing, a lot of people, even aside from the meat, there's people that snag them and they do jar up the caviar.
Yeah, so
there's several caviars in, like I was listening to a video, there's several caviars like you can eat from different fish, but the first is sturgeon and spoonbill. It's like the
delicacy. Or
sturgeon, spoonbill.
Those are the only caviars. Everything else is considered roe at that point.
Yeah.
I know there's like a really, really big, or they're expensive.
Yeah,
it's illegal to sell them.
Yeah, the guide was talking about yesterday, like them catching people and some sketchy people that he'd kind of run into trying to sell them.
He had some people that I guess, a lot of people from like Russia or big.
The other countries like overseas, it's a
like
big delicacy.
Big into the market. And he said he had some people come like with him, and he said there was like 3 that didn't speak English and like 1 guy that did, but not very well. And he was like, "Can you guarantee me all females?" And he was like, "No, like I can't tell you if it's a male or a female until we catch it,
No, sir, this is gender neutral.
Yeah. So they snagged the first one. It's a male, and it's a legal fish, which you can't select like, no, that fish is too.
Well, how do you tell the difference between just gut on them?
Yeah, pretty much. Just if it's fat or not.
That's
what I
guess.
Figured.
I'm sure there's other ways to tell, but that's just kind of like our way of telling. So he was saying that they caught a fish, but it was a legal fish. It was like 40 inches from the eye to the fork of the tail, which is
good
which
fish.
is a whole legal. 6 inches bigger than a legal fish. So And I guess you can't really select, like, if you snag a legal fish, you have to keep it.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't throw it
like,
back.
you can't throw
Yeah.
it back. So the guy was like, is this a male? And he was like, yep, this is a male. And he's like, don't want it, throw it back. And he's like, no, we're not throwing it back. Like, we have to keep it. And he's like, why? I don't want it. Like, I want female. And he's like, no, like, I can't do that. And he's like, well, this make me no money. And he was like, all right, well, dude, like, you can't, you can't be selling them in the first place. But this guy was literally like, didn't want the male at all. And he's like, dude, like, you're on my boat. I'm not like, I'm not liable for this. We're keeping this fish. And the guy was like super mad because he just was like, don't want it, throw it back. And
yeah. Well, they caught them Russians.
Yeah, that's
a couple of years ago. Had like $60,000 in caviar.
Yeah, they were. Well, the guide kind of mentioned yesterday, like, and we were just kind of talking about it, and I think an average like one of our fish, there was like probably estimated 20 to 25,000 in
that's
caviar and one like a set like that 70 pounder, but very highly illegal, and you're not even supposed to. If you're going to keep the eggs for yourself, you have to keep them in transport the fish to your house. Like, you can't cut the eggs out and leave with the eggs, only the eggs. Like, you have to.
They have to be transported inside the fish body.
Yes. Yeah. To your place or whatever.
Damn. I can see it.
That's why I was kind of interested or wanted to try some, just like why they're so sought after or whatever, like what's so special about them or why do they bring such money? But
I don't know. I'm sure they got to be. They can't be bad. I mean, I'm sure it's not something that.
And I'm sure everyone has a different taste, but like the video we were watching of Flair the other day, there was that one guy that was like, oh, like he acted like they were too much. He didn't really like them, and then the other guys
Flair
were like,
Austin really liked
them. So I guess it just each their own,
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to try it sometime.
Yeah.
We found mushrooms today, got Spoonbill, so we're due for a hell of a cook, I think.
Yeah. It was pretty cool, though, one of the ones that Drake snagged. So for other people that don't know, like, the purpose of the bill is the Spoonbill will take it and, like, go in these shallows or up in these mud flats and, like, pry up mud and, like, basically stir it up and then filter feed through it, like the plankton stuff. Yeah. And so one of the ones that we reeled in yesterday, it's like bill was all coated in.
It was just covered mud, yeah. It was pretty cool to see that.
And then Drake pointed out, too, I think one of the ones that I snagged, its bill was like...
stubby.
Yeah, it was like stub-nosed.
It was like half the length of any of the other ones.
Yeah, it had broken off at some point or whatever.
Grown back like at a 45.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, it was overall really great weekend. We got a lot done, got some Spoonbill snag, got some mushrooms found, and next weekend rolls into turkey season.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll be going after some longbeards next weekend with a couple kids. I think the way it sounds, we're going to have to do some scouting kind of throughout the week and get ready, but I think we should be able to knock down a couple birds with the use, I believe.
It should. I haven't really seen the weather, but it looks like it.
Weather looks good. I think it's like lows in like the high 40s and in the daytime's like 70.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, we ought to do some good then.
As long as we don't have super high winds like last year, which I don't think we should, but I think it should be good.
Hopefully. I mean, it seems weird that it's already like that time of year, but everything is so green or grown up.
Everything's green and big time.
Like compared to previous years, everything's going to be so thick by the time our season comes around.
Yeah, we had that early warm spell come through and just set everything off. Well, a little bit of rain and that early warm front come through and just instantly threw everything into bloom.
So you're picking mushrooms in March. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I was going to say it's definitely a little early. I can't say it's a little early, but even like the vegetation grown up where like the spot where we were picking them today, usually it's never like there's no green in there at all. Usually it's just completely, it's all flooded out fucking brown ground.
I was telling Landon driving around, it's crazy how green everything here is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're definitely ahead, in my opinion anyways. I think we're ahead of schedule as far as green up goes. So, which there was ticks out a month ago, I guess, but I had ticks on me today, so I have to break the permethrin out, get my clothes sprayed up for for next weekend.
That's the worst anymore is ticks. I mean, I used to not care, but they carry so many diseases and stuff anymore. It sucks.
Fucking gross. Hate ticks.
Yeah, they're gross. Not a big fan.
No.
For whatever reason, I remember you guys were kind of talking about it the other day. Some people they affect more, and some people they affect less.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I feel like I don't get them to latch on, or I only find 1 or 2 on me a year, and they never really bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on the situation, scenario, kind of where we are. But I try and not put myself in a place where I'm going to have a shit ton of ticks on me after turkey season. Like, if I get some on me in turkey season, whatever, we're turkey hunting.
It's part of the experience almost.
Yeah, it's just part of it. You flip them off or pick them off here and there. But after turkey season, it's like, all right, I'm staying out of the timber till August or
Yeah, they're just affecting so many people anymore with that alpha gal or gal or whatever.
So I had a high school teacher, or a teacher in high school teacher, same thing, who got it from a tick, and he doesn't even go outside or anything, usually, and he can't eat red meat. And then my taxidermist has got Lyme disease twice, I think, now from ticks.
Yeah,
I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever one year and was sick for a long time, but I mean that's just something that I was able to get over. That like alpha gal and different stuff, and it affects people differently. But I know a guy that, and if for anyone that doesn't know either, that affects people for eating like red meat. Like they become allergic to it, and this guy can't even like smell it. Like if you're cooking hamburger in the house and he walks in,
Yeah, that's how my high school teacher was.
he's
just gets
screwed.
Them. Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like different events and stuff, like he has to sit outside because people are like he can't even be around it.
I think that not saying it like wears off, but I think like different people, it affects differently. Like you said, like some people, it seems like they get over it like within like 5 years or so.
Seems to lessen, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to lessen anyways. And then I know there's other people, it's like, oh, I've had it 20 years and it's still.
It's just crazy to me how a little tick can like control so much in your body, or how it can even make you become allergic to red meat.
Yeah, nasty little bastards.
Like I couldn't imagine not being able to eat a cow or
deer for that matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, they talk, back in the day, which even when we were young, I could probably count on one hand from the age of 5 to 14 how many ticks, you would see crawling around.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
there was none. But
we'd roll around in the woods and stuff every weekend all summer long, and I'd
Yeah.
have ticks every weekend and never had a problem. But anymore, it's crazy how many diseases and stuff that they carry.
Yeah, I mean, back, I'm not going to say 1,000 years ago, but hundreds of years ago, whenever, they'd have these big, when everything was more prairie and stuff, they'd have the big fires just rip, from lightning or whatever Native Americans fire got out of control, whatever, and they had the big fires just sweep across landscapes. And that's what took care of most of the ticks back then, because they'd have miles and miles and miles of just burnt prairie, and it just controlled the ticks every year. And now, with civilization kind of growing in and subdivisions and stuff, you don't get the burns like they used to back then. And I mean, we know people that burn properties every year, and we do it ourselves, but it's so minuscule compared to how it used to be tick wise.
Yeah, like we're mushroom hunting today. I mean, there was 5-6 inches of leaf litter. We were talking about how good a burn could do for that area.
Yeah. That's what Shay kept saying. She had her little shoes on, and every time she stepped, she sank like 4 inches in leaves. And I'm like, I don't know what to, that's, they haven't burned it. They're probably not going to burn it.
It would be such an easy burn, though. It couldn't go anywhere.
No, you could light that whole place on fire and let it rip, and it would do nothing.
It wouldn't go nowhere. Just make sure no one's in there and light her up.
Yeah.
God, the mushrooms would be insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they always talk about, you hear, at least in some Facebook groups and stuff that I'm in, in California, and where they run through with these burns, they always talk about how the next 2 or 3 years the mushrooms are better. And
yeah, they are.
People back home and stuff, they say they burn and they just grow thicker.
Yeah, no, I think they do, because it allows the spores, like it gets more sunlight to the ground on like certain times of the years, and lets the spores and the mushrooms come up better.
I've always heard of people saying like running a fire through a place really helps the mushrooms, but I mean, I've never witnessed it for myself, but definitely heard that multiple times.
Yeah.
So,
well, you want to wrap this one up?
You sound tired.
Dude, I'm so tired. I slept pretty good the last couple of days at the lake, but man.
say I'm not excited for my drive home. It's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, I'd say everyone's been yawning. Every time I look over, Drake's yawning or I'm yawning. I'm like, oh,
we've been on the go. We've been on the go all weekend.
Yeah, I left home at like 5:30 on Friday and pretty much haven't stopped moving since.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get much sleep last night either, and it took us a while to get all them fish cleaned and everything. But we got a lot of, what did we get? 10 gallons or better of meat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 10 plus, I would say.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we'll have some bunch of meat to cook.
bunch
up
of
in here
mushrooms.
soon. Yeah,
Turkey season's coming up, so
we'll have to cook some when we come up turkey hunt. Maybe do a little. If we kill a couple birds, maybe cook some spoonbill turkey and stuff up there.
Dude, spoonbill, turkey nuggets, and mushrooms. That seems like the spring slam right there.
I know.
the trio.
Usually it's crappie, but we're gonna switch it out from crappie to spoonbill now.
And we'll start a new thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. I got to get to dinner anyways, and I'm going to fall asleep doing the outro. But this is the first one we filmed, so it's going to be a little test run on it, I think. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully get it put up on YouTube, and hopefully
I need to
everyone
get
can
out of
start-
here too. I got Easter eggs to find.
Yeah.
I just gotta go home.
Yeah. Drake's got a long drive home, but anyways, we're gonna over the next coming weeks we're gonna start throwing a couple like little commercials in for HLRBO. We got to film, so that should be exciting. So the whole podcast is gonna be
Go find you a lease and start looking for mushrooms.
Yeah, you might just find some mushrooms on your
Yeah,
lease.
they might probably don't have any mushroom leases, but you could lease the place and then look for
It's a
mushrooms.
new brand idea right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Mushroom
that's-
leases.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mushroom leases.
Just go start planting a bunch of them everywhere. But all right, we'll get on out of here. So don't forget, wrap your tag around the main beam. Drake, we appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate it.